Welcome to Wroclaw, Poland. This quaint historic city has been ruled by Bohemians and the Austrian Empire, not to mention Prussia and Germany. Wrocław has become the capital of a Polish region known as Silesia, but for 1 week, it was also the capital of World Cup archery, with athletes coming from around the globe to try and establish their own empire. To do that, they needed to conquer everything and everyone standing in the way of the medal matches and those precious points needed to reach the World Cup finals in Mexico City. And so the heat was definitely on here at Stage 3. Marcella Tonioli would lead second seed Italy into the women's team gold medal match, getting a lot of help from 23-year-old Viviana Spano and the 25-year-old veteran Anastasia Anastasio. On a steaming hot Saturday morning in Wrocław, they'd be up against the hottest team in women's compound, the trio of Maria Vinogradova, Svetlana Cherkashnieva, and Natalia Avdieva. After getting a big thumbs-up sign, the top two seeds began to battle, the Russian Federation holding a 2-point lead after the first 3 ends. Could Italy mount a challenge and make a comeback? Anastasio tried to light a fire with the first shot of the 4th end, a frustrating shot for the woman who'd won a team gold medal in Poland just 2 years ago. Viviana Spano would hurl another spear into the 9 ring, leaving it up to Tonioli to pick the team up with a much-needed 10. Meanwhile, Russia's depth allowed the Federation to lead off with their top gun, and Natalia Avdieva would neutralize the previous shot by Tonioli. Russia's rising star, Maria Vinogradova, stays with the script. She follows Natalia's lead. And Svetlana Cherkashnieva, hungry to improve on a team silver in Poland just a year ago, makes it 3 in a row. The Federation had a 4-point lead and only 3 arrows to go. Italy would now have to scale mountains higher than the Alps. Anastasia needs a 10, but has to settle for less. Spano, seeking the first World Cup medal of her career, takes her time, zeroes in, and drops her shot into ground zero. Tonioli took a gold medal home from Poland 2 years ago, and she keeps Italy's fading hopes alive, killing the itsy-bitsy spider. But she and her comrades know they're at the mercy of the Russian Federation, and at this level, there's no room for that. Natalia takes her time and touches the line. Meanwhile, Maria will leave absolutely no doubt. So, Svetlana Cherkashnieva needs but 7 to win and goes 2 better. Russia wraps it up, the top seed, holding off the second seed by a final upgraded score of 231 to 227. After winning team bronze medals at the first 2 stages of this year's World Cup tour, the Russian Federation raises the bar, grabbing the gold here in Poland. It was a very anxious time. We were nervous, but I think we were able to control ourselves. We did our job, and I think we proved we're a strong team.
Hi, I'm Real Wild, multiple world champion and world record holder. And the things that I focus on in my shot are a lot of holding my bow arm out straight and still and aiming. With a compound bow, it's pretty important how to aim because you can't miss very much to win. And being consistent on how I pull and draw the bow, because as long as I just keep pulling and tension stays the same, I can just aim and execute a good shot. I first start out by grabbing the bow, put my hand in and kind of let it seat itself. And then just with the release, I will just draw back and I will just pull, just continue my pull. I don't push a lot with this bow arm because if I do, I'll build up tensions and it'll cause me to fire the bow in all kinds of different directions. So if I let it relax and let the bow shoot itself, it seems to shoot better than I can, so that's usually the best thing I can do. One of the things I do that a lot of guys talk about is my lean back. I do lean back when I shoot. The biggest reason is because the weight of my bow, everybody always talks about how heavy my bow is, but if I lean back, it puts the weight more in a center balance of this so that it's all more in line. I've read books and seen things on match rifle shooters, they all lean back when they're shooting their guns so that it puts the weight more in the center of theirs, so that when you're out here, you're not feeling like you're doing this, you're more in here and more weight balanced down the more sides of your body. There's no universal way to shoot. This is how I shoot, and I hope you can find yours. Good luck.
Rio Wild fully intended to put all those words of wisdom to good use in the men's team gold medal match. Joining forces with Steve Anderson and Braden Gelantine, these three amigos, the top seed at Stage 3, were ready for this rematch duel with the Danes, who lost to the Americans at Stage 2 on Konialty Beach in Antalya. Patrick Larson, Stefan Hansen, and Martin Damsbo weren't about to get mad, they just wanted to get even. That was not the case, at least not after the first 3 ends of play. The United States up by 1, going into the 4th and final end, unaware of what misfortune might lay ahead. Patrick Larson, a member of last year's gold medal squad in Wroclaw, would get the ball rolling for Denmark. That set the table for the new world champion, 20-year-old Stefan Hansen, who displayed his championship form from Copenhagen. Of course, Martin Damsbo doesn't need much inspiration. He had plenty of motivation and turned up the thermostat even more as he drilled another shot dead center. You could almost sense the shift in momentum. It seemed to be just a slight shift after Braden Gelantine led off with a 9. But the earth moved and the walls came tumbling down when Steve Anderson misfired and sank his shot in the red zone. Just like that, Denmark had picked up 3 points and would ultimately lead by 2, despite Rio Wild's best effort.
There you go.
Just like that, a 3-point swing that put Denmark in the driver's seat with just 3 shots to shoot. Patrick would step up and power his final shot right down the middle. Denmark's auto mechanic revving up the engines for hot rod Stefan Hansen, who put the pedal to the metal. So at this point, Martin Damsbo wasn't about to hit the brakes. Damsbo drills another dagger into the heart of the target, killing any chance of an American comeback. Braden Gelantine gamely soldiered on, catching the line with his final attempt. And Steve Anderson would rebound with a solid 9 on his last shot of this match. But by the time Rio got to the line, this one was already out of reach. It wasn't a question of who, just a question of how much. After the Honey Badger tacked on yet another 10, we had our answer. The magic number was 3. A 3-point come-from-behind victory for the Scandinavian sharpshooters. Hansen, Damsbo, and Larson never gave up, kept the match close, put the pressure on the Americans, and pounced when the opportunity presented itself. Denmark avenges the loss to the U.S. in Antalya. We realized we were up against the USA in the gold medal final, and we struggled a little bit at the start with 2 9s. That was all right. They were good shots. It was just the tricky wind. We had to figure out how to do it, and then after that, we just played our game, did all we could, and in the end, we were on top.
The first thing I do after a victory is just to think the next match and then celebrate.
Probably take a sigh of relief and then jumping up and down a little bit.
Probably the doping control, I guess. Getting the medal and then just probably sleeping because I'm always super tired after those matches.
I go home and celebrate, have a beer with friends, and just relax.
Smiling.
Be happy, hopefully, and get home and actually remember that I did it.
Then the old raise the arms like this with my bow in the air. So I've done that since '09 when somebody told me to do it. So that's kind of something I've done, I guess.
Mexico's Linda Ochoa was definitely in the conversation concerning the World Cup finals after stage 2 in Antalya. But in this sport, nothing's guaranteed, and Linda desperately wants to be in Mexico City for the finals come October. So it was time to make some noise and pick up some more points at stage 3 in Poland. Crystal Gauvain was having a great summer too, but she wasn't a lock for Mexico City either, sitting in 7th place in the World Cup standings after Antalya. By the time she hit the field for this match, she'd already collected a couple of medals in team play and had a slight advantage, having been on the turf not once, but twice already. Now that being said, Crystal would have to come from behind in the 5th end, trailing by 113 to 112. Gauvain goes first and goes to work quickly. No hesitation, and it's a sure shot. Over to Ochoa, who works the clock and gets the job done to maintain her slim 1-point lead. Crystal stays focused and hits pay dirt. The pressure's back on her opponent. Now time appears to be running out on Linda. Feeling the heat, she surrenders that lead. So we're all even with 1 shot to go. Are we heading for a shoot-off? Only if Gauvain's Mexican counterpart cooperates. Crystal leaves the door open just barely, but Linda Ochoa didn't need much room or time to work with. Showing nerves of steel, a great sense of timing, and a flair for dramatics, Linda lets it fly with only 1 second on the clock and strikes gold. In a sense, this match did come down to a 1-arrow shoot-off, and when the chips were down, Linda Ochoa cashed in. She picks up 18 more points and now sits atop the Women's World Cup standings. Alejandra Usquiano had a tough act to follow after that heart-stopping bronze medal match. Of course, the gold medals she won back in 2013, including the one at the World Cup Finals in Paris, had proven to be an even tougher act to follow. Though she was 9-3 in match play this year, Alejandra had not won an individual medal in almost 2 years. She would in Poland, but would it be gold or silver? To a degree, the answer would depend upon her worthy opponent, Natalia Avdieva, who had already won a team gold medal and was back for more. She'd broken through on the beach last summer in Antalya and was looking for the second individual gold of her career. It appeared Natalia would get it, leading by 3 after the first 3 ends of this encounter with Usquiano. Alejandra needs to start digging out of the hole she's dug for herself, and she starts out the 4th end with a 9. The bronze medalist from last year's World Cup Finals smells blood. Natalia nails it and builds her lead up to 4. But there's no quit in this 22-year-old Colombian, who counter-punches with a 10 of her own. Usquiano needs a break to gain ground. But Avdieva isn't about to budge 1 inch. The lead stays at 4. Can Alejandra keep it there? Good question. After she puts another 9 on the board. So now Natalia can knock that lead up to 5 if she can knock down another big shot. She's close, but close only counts in shoot-offs. Alejandra dodges a knockout punch. Avdieva still has a considerable advantage, but it could have been worse for Usquiano. Even so, it will take a miracle, a missed shot, or both for Alejandra to get back into contention. One of the brightest stars in Colombia's constellation, Usquiano shines bright on the first arrow of the 5th end. But she's spinning her wheels because there's no let-up from Natalia Avdieva. Avdieva relentlessly working the center of her target and wearing down her opponent, who tries to whip her bow and will this shot into the gold rings. Any hope of standing atop the podium goes out the window. She can only salvage a 7. So it's hammer time for Avdieva, who nails another 10 in just about the same spot as her first shot. Pinpoint precision, putting Usquiano backed up against the wall. Alejandra will finish with a solid shot, but on this day, Usquiano just wasn't quite as sharp as she needed to be to take down the woman ranked 4th in the world. Just for good measure, Antalya strikes gold one more time. An incredible group that puts the icing on the cake, giving Avdieva her 2nd World Cup gold medal in match play. From Russia with love, it's a commanding performance, giving Antalya 25 points and putting her in 2nd place in the World Cup race, just 5 back of the frontrunner, Linda Ochoa. For me, this is just normal weather. I live in a windy region. That's why it's not a problem for me. And yes, it's hot, but we were in Armenia for the European Championships, and it was even hotter there. Updating the situation, Ochoa and Avdieva were 3rd and 11th respectively after their trip to Turkey, but big wins in Wroclaw catapult Linda into the lead with Antalya in hot pursuit. Crystal's tied for 4th, and Alejandra's still very much in the hunt. One man's misfortune often proves to be another man's good fortune. That was the case for Steve Anderson in the team gold medal match. But the universe has a way of balancing things out, and it would in Steve's bronze medal match with the Great Dane Martin Damsbo. An apprehensive Stefan Hansen almost seemed to sense something coming. But no one, especially Martin, could imagine how this match would eventually play out. This would be just the 2nd meeting between these two men, both of them ranked in the top 20, both of them battling for a trip to Mexico City come this fall. The higher seed had the lead after the first 9 arrows, Martin Damsbo taking the lead in the 2nd end and building it up to 2 after 3. Still too close to call though. Anything could, and as it turned out, would happen. Innocently enough, it started with a strong shot by Anderson to get this fateful 4th end going. Damsbo would do what Damsbo does, and answer with a 10. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Steve Anderson minds his own business and keeps attacking. He holds serve on his 2nd shot, but then turns to see what's happening on target 1. Out of our camera's range, Martin's got the same problem with his release that he did in the semis. His arrow never hits the target, and the miss changes the complexion of this match. After Anderson runs the table with 3 straight 10s, Damsbo regroups. Martin finding the sweet spot again. But the damage has been done. It's a 10-point swing as Steve Anderson goes from 2 down to 8 up on one of the greatest sportsmen who walks the earth. It's an uneasy feeling for everyone involved, but it's part of this game, so we play on. Martin's misfortune, a discouraging distraction that might have brought a lesser man to his knees, but the proud Dane would not let that happen, and he drove home that point on the first shot of the 5th end. Though Steve Anderson caught a break, let the record show he shot brilliantly in this match and would eventually finish with a score of 147, good enough to win a lot, if not most matches. At this point, any effort by Damsbo would be in vain. While the air went out of his sail, it filled Steve Anderson's, who was now cruising toward that finish line.
Yep, good. You hit the arrow and glanced over. Nice shot, bro.
Martin Damsbo would give it a good old college try just one more time.
Let's go, Steve. One more.
But Steve Anderson would not be denied. 10s across the board for the young American who shook off a tough shot in his team medal match and rebounded with a score of 147 to secure the bronze medal. The victory certainly didn't come about the way he'd prefer to win, but there's no disputing his score.
It hit the exact middle of the target.
My name is Abhishek Verma. I representing in India. My rank is quite low, is like a 22, and I face the world champions and the top one, US archers and Italian archer. And if I think who's going to shoot against me, on my opinion, I never win. But I'm not losing myself, and I did focus on shooting and score, and I did well. So it's good. And I will be more happy if I win the last one match, and if I shoot well, I win. If I don't shoot perfectly, I lose. So my aim is just perfect shoot. That's it. This is my, I think, 10th World Cup, and yeah, I'm happy. It's a part of our archery. If you are happy, then your score is automatically will be the highest one.
Ismail Abadi has been shooting a lot of high scores this season, coming off winning a team gold medal at the World Championships in Copenhagen. He earned the number 5 seed in Wroclaw, and then earned a spot in the gold medal match by beating Mike Schlosser and Martin Damsbo. Now there was just one more obstacle in his way. Abhishek Verma of India, who had lost his previous 2 meetings with Abadi, the last one coming in the finals at the 2014 Asian Games. So now Verma would have his chance to avenge those setbacks and win his first World Cup medal. Verma would outscore his opponent in the first 2 ends before both came through the 3rd end cleanly. So Abhishek carried a 3-point edge into the 4th end. With an average score of almost 9.7 per shot, it was no surprise to see the Iranian archer lead off with a 10. Verma, averaging 9.7 himself, wasn't the least bit phased. He was focused and kept the lead at 3. A judge would have to rule on Abadi's next shot, but to most it appeared to bite the line for another 10. Back to Abhishek, who refused to blink. It's another near-perfect shot, which may move him even further ahead on the scoreboard. As Verma collects himself and his thoughts, Abadi veers off course just a bit, giving his opponent room to increase the margin. It's an opportunity that's not about to go by the wayside. After 3 great shots in a row, Abhishek Verma does indeed have a 4-point lead. But by no means would this be a stroll in the park in the 5th and final set in Poland. Abadi zones in on the gold ring to start the stretch run. And while Verma's shot wasn't quite as good, it still brought him 10 more points. So the lead stays at 4. Abadi eyes it, tries it, and buys it. He's not going down without a fight. But Abadi becomes a helpless bystander and can only watch as Verma closes in for the kill. Once again, just catching the line for another 10 points. Just to make sure Abadi leaves no stone unturned, launching another rocket for a direct hit, wanting to make sure Verma would have to make a solid shot to win the match. And Abhishek is solid as a rock. He rocks the archery world with a 4-point victory in the men's gold medal match and gets his revenge to cap off an impressive week, which included a shoot-off win against Rio Wild and a semifinal upset of Steve Anderson. As always, India's Abhishek Verma was all smiles.
Yeah, I was happy and it helped me. I just told you, happiness is the secret of my achievement. So I am happy, I shoot well, and I have a medal.
When we left Antalya, Damsbo and Anderson were both in the top 8, Verma in 11th place. After Poland, Verma's now sitting in 2nd place, while Damsbo and Anderson are still in contention for the World Cup finals in Mexico come October.